CEO's shocking request, be his dad for just 1 hour, janitor's incredible condition revealed. Adam knelt, scrubbing the gleaming office floors of the prestigious tech firm, each stroke of the mop echoing the dreams he once cradled. Thoughts swirled in his mind like the suds on the polished tiles what had led him to this humble existence. The weight of financial struggles bore down on him as he fought to provide for his son, Jake, who was on the cusp of college acceptance, yearning for something more than the life Adam had known. A life he wanted to offer, but at what cost? His hands tightened around the mop handle. He was proud of his work, yet as each solvent-scented sweep dug deeper into his heart, he faced the pressing reality of their world. He dedicated himself to this job, sacrificing his aspirations for Jake S. Would the sacrifices he made ever be enough? All the while, Adam wore a smile, a mask to hide the turmoil brewing beneath. He sought to mold Jake's future, but little did he know his son viewed their life with resentment, the disparity between their dreams widening like a cavern. As the clock inched forward, Adam's thoughts were jolted by the vision of Sarah, the firm's young and ambitious CEO. She approached with a confidence that practically radiated, and it stirred something within him: intrigue, perhaps, but also reluctant admiration. When her words sliced through the air, "Will you be my father for just 1 hour?" He froze, brimming with an aching mix of anger and hurt. The request felt like a judgment on his worth, forcing his back against the wall. A firm no escaped him, but his heart screamed for validation. Adam's pulse raced as Sarah revealed her own story, a childhood etched in poverty and the relentless pursuit of ambition. Her vulnerability surprised him, a glimpse into the shared struggles that simple appearances masked. They stood amidst the polished office walls, a stark contrast to the life he labored to provide for Jake. Could a boss understand his world, the battles he fought day in and day out? He felt their eyes, two worlds colliding, honor and hard work against a perceived lowliness. Before he could process it, Adam felt the rush of emotion smother him, dignity tangled with desperation. How could he accept Sarah's invitation without shattering the fragile pride that anchored his identity? Would Jake see him differently? The cacophony of self-doubt swirled. What would his son think if he knew his father had accepted such a foolish request? The very notion sparked an internal tornado of hesitation and anxiety. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the moments ticked by, the tension rose to a breaking point. Just when Adam felt his decision crystallizing, Jake suddenly entered the office, mouth agape, disbelief painted across his young face as he saw his father standing across from the CEO. Time froze, the air grew thick with unsaid words and emotion. What did this mean for their fragile relationship? Adam's heart hammered at the thought. Could Jake understand the depth of his dedication? Would the weight of Adam's choices be too heavy to bear? The crossroads loomed, daring Adam to redefine what fatherhood truly meant, caught in the middle of an unexpected reckoning that left the air electric. Adam felt the world collapse around him as Jake's eyes widened, filled with astonishment and confusion. The polished office, once a backdrop to his daily struggles, transformed into a theater where the unfolding drama felt all too personal. Time seemed to slow, stretching the moment like a taut wire, ready to snap. "Dad?" Jake's voice trembled, breaking through the silence that enveloped them. It echoed his own insecurities, the longing to bridge the chasm that had grown between them. "Can we talk?" Adam's words stumbled out, awkward but necessary. He glanced at Sarah, her expression a complex tapestry of understanding and curiosity, as if she could see right through him. Adam knew he stood at a precipice. Accepting her request could provide insights, perhaps redefine his role not only in Jake's eyes but also in his own. "Yeah, just give me a second," Jake murmured, uncertainty etched in every line of his young brow. He shifted from foot to foot, visibly uncomfortable with the sight of his father and the woman who represented everything he believed was unattainable. In that fleeting second of hesitation, Adam found himself wrestling with the heart of the matter. There were years of disappointment that led them here, the unspoken arguments about ambition and sacrifice, the distance reshaped by dreams and needs that diverged too far apart. He wanted to be the hero in Jake's story, not the villain cast by fate. "Jake," he began, his voice steadier now, "this isn't what it looks like." He gestured toward Sarah, seeking to create some distance from the connotations attached to her request. The last thing he wanted was for his son to feel ashamed, to carry the weight of a decision that bore more than one narrative. As he spoke, Adam felt the layers of his own conflict peeling away. Would he deny a chance for connection in hopes of preserving dignity? The instinct to protect his son's view of him clashed with a budding realization: vulnerability could foster growth. This could be a chance not just for him but for Jake as well, a lesson in ambition, authenticity, and the acceptance of life's uncertainties. "Look, Dad," Jake interrupted, his tone rising with a mix of frustration and youthful bravado. "I can't believe you're doing this. You're just a janitor." The words hung heavily in the air, reverberating with the tension of truth and denial. Before Adam could respond, Sarah interjected, her voice calm yet commanding, "Jake, your father's role here is more than what it seems. Sometimes, we're not defined by our titles but by the choices we make. He's here because he works hard." The ground shifted beneath Adam, Sarah's words resonated with an unexpected clarity. Here, in the midst of this chaos, was an opportunity for him to reaffirm his worth, not just to his son but to himself. "What you don't see, Jake, is that I've spent years thinking I'm not enough. But there's strength in acknowledging our struggles." He looked into his son's eyes, trying to chisel away the anger and confusion. "Being a janitor doesn't mean I'm failing. It means I'm here for you. I want to help you chase your dreams." Jake's expression softened slightly, uncertainty mingling with curiosity. The vulnerability Adam displayed began to shift something inside both of them. "I want to be better, to grow in ways you might not fully understand yet," Adam continued, determination lighting a fire in his chest. "Maybe I need to explore what this hour really means. Not just for Sarah, but for us." The revelation throbbed between them, a moment of tension and release. But just as the veil began to lift, one question remained: would accepting this unusual request turn into a path of untapped potential or a descent into deeper doubts? The air thickened once more as Sarah shifted her stance, poised to guide Adam into a world that could either illuminate his capabilities or plunge him further into the shadows of self-doubt. "Are you ready to see what being a father can truly mean?" Adam's breaths quickened, realizing that whatever choice he made next would redefine not only his relationship with Jake but also spark the journey he never thought he could embark on. Yet, uncertainty loomed, intensifying the moment. The stakes were impossibly high, and neither father nor son could fathom the depths of the challenges ahead. Would Adam find the courage to step fully into the role he so desperately wished to embody? The moment teetered on the edge, waiting for a decision that could alter the trajectory of their futures. Adam took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his decision pressing against his chest. The air hung thick with unsaid truths, and every second felt like an eternity. Jake's eyes, filled with the turmoil of a teenage heart, mirrored the confusion churning within Adam. He had long wrestled with the notion of his identity, oscillating between ambition and reality. "I can't do this without knowing what I'm stepping into," he finally said, steeling himself as he met Sarah's gaze. "What does this hour entail? What does it mean for Jake?" Sarah stepped forward, sensing the urgency of his quest for clarity. "It's about building connections, bridging gaps. You have the opportunity to engage with Jake in a way that's authentic, a chance to show him that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength." Her passion ignited something within Adam. He could see the shrouded potential lurking behind her words. "Can I really change how he sees me?" Adam thought, grappling with the vast chasm between his self-image and the father he aspired to be. He remembered the countless nights spent alone, scrubbing floors after everyone else had gone home, drowning under the pressure of expectations and disappointments. Was this opportunity a mere flicker of hope, or could it be the turning point he sought? "Look, Jake," Adam began, redirecting his focus to his son. "I know you see me as just a janitor, but that title doesn't define who I am." His voice grew firmer, a newfound determination sprouting from within the cracks of his insecurities. "I've made choices to support you, to ensure you have paths that I didn't. He paused, gathering his thoughts as he tried to paint a vision he hoped would resonate. "It's time we face our fears together." Jake's expression shifted, confusion mingling with a flicker of understanding. He was searching for a father figure, a guide, someone who could model resilience in the face of life's hurdles. Adam's heart pounded with a mix of fear and burning resolve. This wasn't just about proving himself to his son, it was about stepping into a larger narrative of growth and reconnection. "I want you to see that I can embrace this moment and keep striving for more," Adam declared, his voice suffused with emotion. "You deserve that, someone who isn't just a name on a paycheck, but a person showing up for you, every step of the way." He sensed a shift in Jake, an unspoken acknowledgement that perhaps the labels they attached to their lives could be redefined. It started to dawn on both of them that their shared journey might just unfold in ways they had never anticipated. But if this is a leap, Adam reflected, his internal compass guiding him, we have to face the uncertainty together. "I'll reveal my true self if you'll be open to seeing the man behind the title." Before the weight of the moment could overwhelm him, Adam reached out, extending a tentative hand toward Jake. "Are you willing to trust me, even if this hour feels uncomfortable?" A palpable silence enveloped them, and Jake hesitated, wrestling with the threads of his past grievances and lingering doubts. The tension hung in the air, thick as molasses, demanding the ultimate confrontation, a decision that could redefine their futures. I don't know," Jake finally uttered, vulnerability lacing his voice. As he searched for words, Adam steeled himself, realizing this was less about Jake's readiness and more about him finding the courage to embrace who he was meant to be. As Sarah's unwavering gaze remained fixed on them, Adam understood that this singular hour could ignite a journey towards unity or unravel into complexities that demanded further exploration. Each heartbeat echoed a question: would they tread this path together, or would fear dictate their lives once more? Moving closer to the precipice of their new reality, Adam felt the universe split open, full of potential and uncertainty. That hour ahead loomed large, promising revelations that neither father nor son had dared dream possible. What uncharted territory awaited them as they prepared to step outside their comfort zones? Would they find strength in vulnerability, or would they falter in the face of newfound truths? The moment had come, they had to leap. Adam's hand hovered above Jake's, hesitating in the charged atmosphere that wrapped around them like a tight embrace. He wrestled with doubt and resolve, unsure if their shared silence was a moment for courage or a precursor to retreat. What if the leap he was about to take only deepened their chasm instead of bridging it? The fear was crippling, but so was the burning desire to break free from the cycle of disappointment that had defined his relationship with his son. "Jake, just trust me," Adam said, his voice steadying as a surge of conviction washed over him. "This isn't about convincing you of anything. It's about showing you that I'm doing my best to be here to be real with you." He watched Jake's expression flicker again, a kaleidoscope of emotions playing across his face. Adam felt the weight of their collective past pressing down, a reminder of missed birthdays, abandoned soccer games, and the silence that had seeped into their home like an unwanted guest. Could he change the narrative of regret into one of hope? As Sarah observed them, Adam realized that she was not just a facilitator, she was a witness to their uncharted journey, a chance for substantiation rather than mere understanding. He turned back to Jake, the silence momentarily dissolved by the urgency of the moment. "What do you think? Can we give this a shot together?" Jake's eyes were stormy as he fought against his instinct to withdraw. "It's not that easy," he finally said, his voice shaking slightly. "You're my dad, but sometimes it feels like you don't know me at all, like you don't want to." The statement pierced Adam deeply, cutting through the layers of bravado he had put on. It was true, he had been so consumed with survival and the facade of responsibility that he had neglected the nuances of Jake's world, the very essence of who his son had become. The realization burned within him, igniting a flicker of determination. "I know I've made it difficult for you to see how much I care," Adam confessed, the admission pulling the truth from the depths of his heart. "But I want to learn about you. I want us to find common ground. Each of us has battles to fight. I have fought mine, and I have failed many times, but I'm here now and I want to fight alongside you." A drop of sweat trickled down Adam's back, but it was not just the heat, it was the fear of failing this moment. The risk of putting himself out there, of showing these vulnerable parts of himself, was immense. Yet, in the risk lay the potential for something profound. Jake's brow furrowed as he processed his father's words, and Adam noted the tension in his shoulders relax, if only slightly. "Maybe," Jake finally replied, uncertainty still thick in his voice. "But I know it's a lot," Adam interrupted gently. "A lot to ask, a lot to take in. But sometimes, vulnerability doesn't mean saying yes immediately. It can mean acknowledging where we are right now, together." The possibility of a capability he hadn't explored took root in Adam's mind, the ability to mentor his son not just as a father, but as someone who understood the turmoil within. Could he turn these short moments into stepping stones for healing? Still, Jake's hesitation lingered, and Adam sensed the unspoken questions brewing beneath the surface. "What do I say? How can we go deeper?" The uncertainty hung palpably in the air. "Let us not rush this, Jake," Adam proposed. "We have an hour, and if it takes longer, then that's okay. It's how we navigate this hour together that counts." The crux of their destiny wobbled on the precipice of revelation and intimacy. Could he draw Jake back into a relationship built on trust instead of resentment? "Okay," Jake finally conceded, the vulnerability in his voice unmistakable. "Let us see where it goes." As their hands aligned at last, Adam felt a warmth spread through him, mingled with trepidation. The leap had begun, but it was just the first step. What lay ahead could be either a path to redemption or a stumble back into the darkness. And as the clock ticked away, marking the moments they had promised to explore together, Adam couldn't shake the feeling that this hour would strip away more than just labels. It would reveal deeper truths that neither of them had been ready to face. What inner battles awaited them as they navigated their vulnerabilities? Only time would tell. Adam felt the tremors of uncertainty pulsate through his chest as Jake's acceptance settled between them. The hour ahead loomed like a vast, treacherous ocean, full of depths he had never dared to explore. But the flicker of hope was enough to ignite a determined flame within him. He had played the role of the distant father for far too long, and now, he was ready to dive into the whirlwind of vulnerability. "Okay," he began, carefully measuring his words. "What do you want to know? What's been on your mind?" Jake shifted, his gaze darting away, the walls around him still evident. The silence that filled the small room was thick, punctuated only by the ticking clock. It seemed to mock the urgency of the moment, each second a reminder of time lost. I don't know," Jake finally admitted, the frustration evident in his voice. "I guess, it's just that I want you to see me. Like really see me. Not just as your son, but as who I am, right now." Adam's heart ached at that revelation. It was something so simple, yet so profound. He had seen Jake as his child, his responsibility, but never quite as the dynamic young man he was becoming, a person with his own thoughts, dreams, and fears. He realized that this was the moment to step back from the archetype of fatherhood he had clung to. It was time to learn from Jake rather than dictate. "Okay, then help me see you," Adam offered, determination sparking in his chest. "What is something important to you right now? Something you feel passionate about?" Jake hesitated, but then something shifted. "I've been working on music," he said, his voice steadier now, the raw enthusiasm seeping through the cracks of his earlier frustration. "I write lyrics and mess around with beats. It's my escape." Adam leaned in, genuinely curious. Why is it an escape for you? It lets me speak, Jake admitted, his voice almost a whisper. I can pour out everything I can't say face to face. It's a way to show my emotions. Otherwise, I feel trapped. The confession struck Adam with the force of a revelation. Music was not just an interest for Jake, it was his language, his lifeline. Adam couldn't help but admire the strength it took to express oneself so completely. A sense of empowerment stirred in him. How many times had he buried his own emotions? What do you write about? He asked, his voice laced with newfound respect. Jake took a deep breath, memories flooding back as he shifted in his seat. Everything. My thoughts, my struggles, even my thoughts about you, he said, a mix of frustration and hope intertwining in his eyes. I write about feeling ignored, about wishing you'd come to my games or even just ask about school. I feel angry, but also I just want to connect. The admission hung heavy in the air. Adam swallowed hard. I didn't realize it meant that much to you, he murmured, the weight of his past decisions crashing down upon him like a suffocating tide. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. They were beginning to peel back layers, each revelation stripping away years of resentment and misunderstanding. It was uncomfortable, but the truth brought with it a flicker of clarity. The raw honesty between father and son was a delicate bridge forming over turbulent waters, each confession a plank strengthening their connection. What if we did something together? Adam suggested, his voice laced with a hint of encouragement. I'd love to hear what you've created. Maybe I can help in some way. Surprise flickered in Jake's eyes, mingled with skepticism. You mean, like listen? You'd want to hear my stuff? Yes, absolutely, Adam affirmed, determination edging his voice. Let us explore this together. I'd like to know you through your music. Jake pondered, uncertainty still shadowing his openness. You really mean it? You won't just say it's good to make me feel better. Adam nodded, taking in the challenge of sincerity that lay before him. No empty platitudes. Just genuine curiosity and support. Together. They sat in charged silence, wrestling with the enormity of their unfolding dynamic, their past looming like shadows but the potential for renewal illuminating the way forward. The clock ticked on, its relentless march echoing through the room, but there was something different now. As the fear of rejection mingled with the resolve to forge ahead, Adam contemplated the potential revelations hidden within those musical rhythms. A voice that had once felt silenced was beginning to resonate again. What would his own vulnerabilities bring to the surface in this journey? With hope beginning to flicker in the heart of their conversation, a grin slowly broke across Jake's face. All right, let us go for it. But as Adam prepared to delve deeper into his son's world, a nagging thought lingered at the back of his mind. Could he truly handle the truths waiting to emerge, not just about Jake, but about himself as well? The room felt different now, alive with an anticipation that Adam hadn't felt in years. The hesitation that had once enveloped their conversations lifted slightly, revealing a clearer path, but the fear of exposing his own vulnerabilities flared up, an unwelcome old friend. Okay, how about we start with something simple? Adam suggested, wanting to keep the momentum going. Why don't you show me something you've been working on? Just a snippet. Jake's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and uncertainty swirling within them. You really want to? Like right now? Absolutely. Adam leaned forward, excitement bubbling within him at the thought of hearing this hidden part of Jake's life. Okay, Jake mumbled, his voice more confident as he retrieved his phone from his pocket. As he pulled up a recording, Adam saw the apprehension etched on his son's face. I hope it doesn't suck. Just let it flow, Adam encouraged, recognizing that the pressure of this moment weighed heavily on them both. Jake pressed play, and the room filled with the sound of deep bass and layered melodies. As the lyrics flowed, Adam could feel the rawness behind each word. They spoke of yearning, frustration, and an unwavering desire for connection, themes that resonated deeply within him. This is really good, Adam said after the final notes faded. You've captured something powerful here. It's honest. Honest? Jake echoed, disbelief coloring his tone. You really think so? I do, Adam affirmed, certain that the vulnerability in Jake's lyrics mirrored a shared experience of both pain and hope. But more importantly, what does this mean for you? What do you feel as you sing these words? Jake paused, the weight of introspection pulling at him. It's like I'm laying everything out there. But I still feel like I'm holding back, you know. Like there are parts of me I'm scared to reveal. Why are you scared? Adam pressed gently, sensing the deeper layers waiting to be unearthed. Jake's brow furrowed. I guess I worry you'll think I'm not strong enough or that I'm just being dramatic. I don't want you to see me as weak. The admission hit Adam hard. This was not just about Jake's music, it was a personal reflection of his own fears. He could recall moments when he had concealed his emotions, preferring the mask of stoicism over vulnerability. You're not weak for feeling things, Jake. Not expressing yourself, that's what's truly limiting. The weight of Adam's words hung in the air, prompting a silence that felt both soothing and heavy. In that shared space of vulnerability, Adam recognized that timing was everything. Was this the moment to share his own fears, his insecurities as a father? Sometimes, I don't know if I'm doing this right, Adam finally confessed, his voice softer but steady. Being your dad has felt like I'm navigating uncharted waters, and I've made mistakes. Jake's gaze sharpened, a new light glimmering in his eyes. You mean it's not just me? You feel lost too? Absolutely. I've struggled to understand how to connect with you as you've grown. I've hid behind expectations instead of just being present. Jake seemed to soak this in, perhaps seeing more of himself reflected in his father's honesty. So, this is about both of us, then? It is, Adam affirmed. I want to grow with you. To understand not just what you choose to show me, but everything that's underneath. Their eyes locked again, suddenly stripped down to the essentials of father and son, both vulnerable and exposed. Let us build something together, Jake proposed. Maybe I can teach you a bit about music and you can help me figure out what I'm so afraid of. Adam felt a spark of hope ignite. This was not just an opportunity for Jake, it was a chance to redefine their relationship, to forge an understanding that went deeper than just father and son. Deal. I'm in, Adam replied, ready to step into this new territory with his son. But as they moved toward this tenuous new bond of collaboration, Adam found himself grappling with an unsettling thought: how would they navigate the journey of unearthing emotions buried beneath years of silence? And was he ready for the truths that may shake the foundations of their connection even further? The next morning, Adam awoke with a mix of exhilaration and anxiety threading through his mind. His conversation with Jake had opened a door he hadn't even realized existed, yet the uncertainties of stepping through it loomed large. He felt the weight of potential transformations, both personal and on their relationship, settle heavily on his shoulders. As the day progressed, Adam found himself dwelling on how he could contribute to Jake's music and, in turn, dive deeper into their newly forged connection. The idea of exploring Jake's fear was daunting. It meant confronting not just Jake's vulnerabilities, but his own as well, peeling back the layers of emotion he had carefully wrapped himself in. The thought of sharing the rawness of his past seemed almost instinctively frightening. The hours dwindled until late afternoon, when Adam found himself in his office, surrounded by the cold efficiency of corporate responsibility. Seated at his desk, he scrolled through emails with distracted formality. Each message felt like a grave reminder of the expectations he faced daily as a CEO, a stark contrast to the warmth he sought to foster with his son. It struck him that his executive life thrived on a facade of control, crafting solutions meticulously but neglecting the emotional vulnerability he encouraged in Jake. Just as he swiped his phone to check the time, an idea sparked. What if he turned some of those corporate problem-solving skills inward? Thinking critically about Jake's music and the journey ahead could help not only his son but also serve as a self-reflective exercise for himself. He began to jot down notes, intending to arrive at their next session with deeper understanding and questions that could provoke thought and encourage Jake. The laptop screen glowed back at him with an idea: what if we could map out your feelings through music? He typed, considering how visualizing emotions might make them easier to confront. Music as a map to explore what you're holding back. The thought sent tremors of excitement through his professional mind, but hesitance accompanied it too. Would Jake see this as a clever tool or merely another layer of adult imposition? As the day stretched on, Adam wrestled with how to approach their next meeting. A sense of doubt washed over him. He felt the familiar panic lurking, that nagging worry that he might overstep or misinterpret Jake's needs. This was a different kind of brainstorming session, where emotional breakthroughs would dictate success rather than mere analytical strategies. When he finally returned home, Adam's energy shifted as he entered the warmth of their shared space. Jake was in his room, likely lost in creating his next piece of music. Adam knocked softly and opened the door. "Hey, can I come in?" Jake looked up, surprise flickering across his face. "Sure. Do you want to hear something new?" Adam smiled, and in that moment, he felt a profound shift within him. He was seeing Jake not just as his son but as a burgeoning artist ready to explore his vulnerabilities. "Actually, I'd love to hear what you have, but I'd also like to see it as a map. Can we try something different this time? Something that helps us understand what we're both feeling?" Jake raised an eyebrow, curiosity peaking. "What do you mean?" "I have this idea of using music as a way to visualize emotions. Together, we can figure out what you're holding back and how we can express it." The flicker of uncertainty crossed Jake's face as he contemplated the request. Would he be able to dive into deeper waters? This moment was pivotal, one that would test not only their relationship but also the trust they had begun to cultivate. Adam felt the air grow thick with a tension that signaled a forthcoming breakthrough or breaking point. Would Jake embrace this opportunity for exploration, or would he retreat into his protective shell? The answer to that question seemed to hang like a suspended note, waiting to resonate with clarity and connection or conflict. The air between them was electric, charged with the weight of their shared uncertainties. Adam watched as Jake wrestled with the proposal, his brow furrowing momentarily, the silence stretching uncomfortably. Adam's heart raced, the stakes feeling monumental. This wasn't merely a creative exercise, it was a call to reveal secrets and vulnerabilities in an uncharted territory they had only begun to explore. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Jake finally asked, his voice tinged with trepidation, yet underlined by a flicker of curiosity. Adam nodded, a steady but soft resolve forming within him. "I think it's important. For both of us. If we're going to connect more deeply, we need to be honest about what we're feeling, even if it's uncomfortable." Jake glanced down, fiddling with the strings of his guitar, and Adam could see the wheels turning in his son's mind. The emotional reflection layered over their previously casual interactions could shatter something fragile or, perhaps, forge a stronger bond. "Okay," Jake finally said, barely loud enough to hear. "But I'm not sure what will come out of it." "Neither do I," Adam conceded. "But maybe that's what makes it exciting." The apprehension that had lingered transformed suddenly into a beckoning sense of adventure. As Jake began to play a few chords, Adam settled next to him, the guitar bridging the distance with a signing presence. They struck a balance in that moment, each man teetering on the verge of exploration, Jake through music, Adam through emotional connection. "Let's start with a feeling. What emotion do you want to work with today?" Adam inquired, his voice infused with encouragement. Jake bit his lip, eyes squinting in contemplation as he played a gentle descending chord sequence. "I think I want to try sadness," he whispered, vulnerability lacing his words. "Lately, it just feels heavy." "Got it," Adam replied, surprised by Jake's willingness to dive into depths he had previously shied away from. "Let's break that down. When you feel that sadness, where does it come from? Can you visualize it as a landscape?" The room was now a sanctuary of creativity as Jake leaned into the exercise, crafting melodic pieces that echoed his inner turmoil. Adam took mental notes on the nuances of the transitions, on how the melodies conveyed an unspoken language, twisted rhythms reflecting fear, soft notes portraying yearning, sharp tones embodying sharp truth. Somewhere in the center, he felt admiration swell for Jake's courage to reveal the rawness of his heart. As they forged their way through the map of emotions, Adam recognized something awakening in himself too. Each probing question and response built a framework he had previously neglected. His own emotions, often tucked away under layers of CEO responsibilities, began to bubble to the surface, the isolating weight of expectations, regrets of missed moments with Jake, and doubts about his efficacy as a father. "Can I try something?" Jake said suddenly, cutting through Adam's self-exploration. "I want to add a break here in the music. Like a moment of clarity amid chaos." "Absolutely," Adam encouraged, feeling a warmth swell. This was where transformation thrived, where silence held meaning. It was all part of the creative process in both music and the fragile tapestry of their relationship. As they delved deeper, Adam caught himself holding back tears, not out of sadness, but out of pride and recognition for his son's emerging ability to express his vulnerability. They were walking a path of creation together, weaving melodies through emotional threads that had previously felt too jagged to navigate. However, just as they reached this moment of connection, the doorbell rang, interrupting the emotional current between them. Both Adam and Jake paused, uncertainty blooming anew. "Who could that be?" Jake asked, his brow furrowing. "I don't know," Adam replied, a sudden knot twisting in his stomach. "But we need to figure this out. We can't let whoever it is disrupt what we're building here." As he stood to answer the door, a feeling of foreboding gripped him. He was still holding pieces of the map they had started to create, a fragile mapping of emotions still in need of exploration. Yet, he felt as if the outside world was reaching for them, eager to rip apart what they had begun to construct. What awaited them beyond the threshold could either distract them from their journey or propel them into an unforeseen conflict, forcing Adam to confront the decisions he had worked so diligently to reshape. Would they hold on to their newly forged connection, or would the unexpected knock lead them to re-examine their developing relationship entirely? Adam inhaled deeply as he approached the door, the sudden knock echoing ominously in his mind. He wiped his clammy hands on his jeans, feeling the weight of uncertainty hovering just before him. This door, this moment, wasn't merely an entrance, it symbolized the threshold between their newfound emotional journey and the chaos that threatened to pull them apart. With a shaky hand, he turned the doorknob and opened the door to reveal a face he hadn't seen in years: his father. The man stood as a ghost of the past, the kind of apparition that resurrected the tangled emotions Adam had bottled away for far too long. It was like opening an old wound just as it began to heal. "Dad," Adam said, the word escaping his lips with an edge of incredulous disbelief. A frown flickered across his father's face, as if the sight of his son still struck him with confusion. "Adam," he replied, his voice heavy with unspoken history. "Can we talk?" Adam felt the air thicken as the clamor of their earlier interaction faded into a distant echo. There was a time when his father's visit might have filled him with nervous energy. Now, however, it aroused apprehension. This was not just a family reunion, it felt like a potential fracture in the fragile bond he was beginning to develop with Jake. "Not right now," Adam stammered, glancing back at Jake, who was still perched on the couch, uncertainty radiating from his body. "Please," his father pressed, stepping closer. "It's important." Adam wanted to slam the door shut, to protect the sanctity of the space he had just begun to explore with Jake. But the man standing before him was still his father, a pivotal figure in the turbulent narrative of his youth. Adam was no longer that child lost in the shadows of disappointment. He had grown. He had hopes, dreams, and a new role to fulfill as a father himself. With reluctance, he stepped aside and gestured for his father to enter. The moment felt like an avalanche as fear and uncertainty cascaded around him. As the older man crossed the threshold, Adam couldn't shake the nagging sense that their encounter would unravel the countless threads he and Jake had just begun weaving into place. Jake remained quiet, observing the silent confrontation unfolding just beyond the entrance of their emotional sanctuary. Adam could feel the weight of his son's curiosity bearing down on him, mixed with concern for the connection they'd begun to establish. "Can this wait?" Adam asked, quickly glancing at Jake. Jake's subtle nod hinted he understood the gravity of the situation, but trusting his father to protect their moment was a quiet gamble. Not everything can wait," his father interrupted, brushing past Adam's earlier unease, his tone sharper. "You think I don't know what you've turned into? A father, a CEO, doing it all on your own." With those words, an insidious tension began to settle in. Adam couldn't ignore the saltiness of resentment mixed with guilt. His father's accusation stung because it rang true. The heft of his own failing suddenly floated to the surface, pulling him back into a cycle of reflection that he was desperate to avoid, especially in front of Jake. "That's enough," Adam said firmly, pouring every ounce of authority he had acquired through the years into those two words. "You don't know what I've been through, or what I'm trying to build here." Jake shifted slightly, sensing the emotional tempest brewing, the confrontation pulling at the edges of their shared moment. This was more than just a family squabble, it posed an inversion of Adam's identity, between being a frustrated child longing for approval and a present father striving for acceptance. "You need to understand that things can't just unravel like they did before," Adam continued, an earnest plea edged with the desperate hope to uphold his fragility amid the brewing storm. "Not now." Yet the pounding of his heart, reflective of buried conflicts rising to the surface, suggested that this was only the beginning. Unfinished business hung in the air like a specter of past transgressions, and Adam feared it might tear apart the bond with Jake he had started to fortify. "I'm here to help," his father replied, unaware of the profound impact of his words or perhaps using them as a weapon. The questions looming over Adam morphed into an internal wrestling match. How could he accept help from the very man he had long since tried to escape? With the future of his relationship with Jake hanging in the balance, Adam realized he stood at a harrowing juncture. Would he confront the upheaval his father had brought into their world, risking the fragile connection he'd begun to build? Or would he retreat into the familiar shadows, allowing the past to shroud the possibilities of the present? The battle raged silently within him as he met his father's gaze, resolute yet unsteady. The time had come to choose. Adam stood in the doorway, the weight of his father's presence pressing down like a storm cloud ready to burst. The emotions swirling in both the air and his chest were like tangled wires of resentment and hope. This was not just a visit, it was an invasion of all he had begun to build with Jake. Crippling uncertainty gripped him tightly, and the ground felt unsteady beneath his feet. "Dad, I understand you have things you want to say, but right now, it's not just about us," Adam asserted, turning slightly to look at Jake. "This moment, what we've started together, is vastly important. I am not ready to let it fall apart." "Important?" His father scoffed, eyebrows rising incredulously. "What could be more important than family?" Adam held his ground. "What has become of us isn't just a matter of blood, it represents choices and healing. I won't let past failures dictate who I am as a father any longer." Jake shifted uneasily, a silent witness to this familial reckoning while grappling with the disarray of emotions. Adam could see the mix of confusion and concern in his son's face, reflected back as if in a mirror of shared struggle. Meanwhile, the air crackled with unspoken truths. Adam's heart raced, the moment pulsating with the possibility of conflict or revelation. The yearning to protect the rediscovered bond with Jake was palpable. He could feel a flicker of resolve igniting deep within. "You don't understand," Adam continued, focusing on his father. "I can't let you dictate the narrative of my life anymore. I'm rewriting my story, one where I finally prioritize genuine connection even if it's with Jake, someone I don't want to disappoint again." The underlying desperation resonated through the space, brief yet starkly poignant. His father shifted uncomfortably, but something in Adam's glare seemed to command respect. Not just any respect, recognition of the hard-fought clarity Adam had attained as a man and a father. "I'm proud of you. And I wish I could have understood that sooner," his father said, a hint of sadness weaving through the bluntness of his query. Just as Adam felt the slightest shiver of hope at the warmth of those words, Jake's brave voice cut through the murky tension that had settled. Maybe, he chimed in, shifting to stand next to Adam, the overlap of their connection harmonized like a fleeting refrain. You both need to talk, but we can't lose what we've started. Can we leave the past behind, at least for now? I'd like us to understand one another firsthand. Isn't that what we're trying to achieve? Adam's heart swelled with pride as Jake articulated a desire for unity amidst the tumult. It was as if the clouds began to part, rays of illumination shining on the potential for reconciliation. And then the moment froze, a pendulum suspended in time. Adam knew that reciprocal vulnerability was paramount, not just for him but for his father as well. Let's take a step back, he suggested, his voice growing gentler, laced with a resolve to honor both the growing dynamic between himself and Jake and the complexities woven between generations. Let us allow each other the space to explore what we feel, reflect, and find understanding together. A soft glance exchanged between Adam and Jake underscored the importance of these relationships, all hopeful and uncertain, yet exhaustive in emotional load. Fine, his father conceded, a rush of weariness spilling across his features. But I'm not leaving without saying the truth. I'm still your father, and you're still my son. Truth, Adam echoed, feeling that familiar weight shift to potency. It's not simply about titles anymore. Beneath the roles we wear lies vulnerability waiting to be explored. The feeling of thin threads weaving among them, it was almost tangible now. Adam turned back to Jake, who nodded in cautious agreement. As they re-entered the sanctuary of their emotional dialogue, Adam felt the momentum surge, a joint effort beyond the bounds of their interrelation. He took a deep breath, grounding himself as he faced his father once more. I know there are wounds, words left unsaid. And emotions buried deep. But today, let us choose to honor our relationships and be transparent, without judgment. Before he could apprehend the ripple of silence trailing behind his statement, his father's expression softened, a flicker of understanding began to replace years of fear and disappointment. Okay, his father said, tethered between relief and release. It's time I let you know that I am proud of the man you've become, Adam. It's never too late to reclaim what has been lost. And as these words hung in the air, intertwining like notes within the melodies they'd begun to explore, Adam felt his perspective shifting, a realization dawning that each moment unfurled deeper fulfillment, amplifying their collective journey as they bravely embraced the pathway to recognition, acceptance, and love. They were able to surrender old animosities and embrace growth, armed with integrity and the willingness to rewrite their legacies both as individuals and as a family. In that fragile exchange, they found a new foundation, one layered with shared vulnerabilities and the promise of resilience. Adam's gaze fell upon Jake once more, the shadows of disappointment lingering no longer between them. They were stepping into the light together, embracing a strength forged in collaboration. He was proud to witness Jake's evolution. And just as significantly, he finally could embrace his own. Let us move forward, sincerely, Adam said, resolving to make every moment count. As father, as son, as men growing together. A bittersweet smile flickered across Jake's face, an acknowledgement of potential that lingered in the air like a melodious refrain. Both father and son, entwined within a shared commitment, were ready to embark on a profound new chapter, one where they could explore uncharted waters without fear overshadowing the journey ahead. Lost stories now had a chance to find their voice as Adam finally discovered the importance of vulnerability, embracing both joys and tribulations openly. This was the start of something remarkable, not merely reconciliation, but an earnest attempt to become the men they had always aspired to be. And in that moment, upon the precipice of reconnection, Adam found a solidity within his heart, a courage he had long sought, a resolution to reclaim his rightful place as a father, not defined by his past, but transformed through it. As they stood together at that threshold, the possibilities of their future shimmered brightly, beckoning a journey of profound purpose. Now was the time. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.